Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Super Sports Central. Today, we're going to be ranking every NFL division in terms of how competitive they are. So, starting off my rankings, since there's 8 divisions, obviously it's going to be 8, the top 8. So, starting off at number 8, we have the NFC South. So, that division has one good team, and that's the Buccaneers, and that's about it. The Buccaneers are clearly the best team, and yes, they have a great team. But the only reason that team is really good is because of Tom Brady. And this division would have been absolutely garbage if Tom Brady did not come back out of retirement. And you might be thinking, well, the other teams in the division, the Falcons are in a deep rebuild. The Saints could be decent, but they have a really good defense, but then Jameis Winston's a question mark. And then the Panthers don't have a quarterback. Yes, I know they drafted Matt Corral, but are they really going to start him? I think he's better. Or, I don't know about better, but he gives the franchise a lot more potential than starting Sam Darnold. So, the NFC South comes in at number 8. Number 7, we have the AFC South. So, the next few you could rank in any order, which I'll get to in a second. The AFC South has 2 teams that could potentially make the playoffs, and 2 teams that are rebuilding. The Titans have Derrick Henry. They traded away A.J. Brown. They cut Julio. So, now they really aren't going to have a great passing attack. I mean, Ryan Tannehill was never amazing there, and now you have one good receiver, and you don't even know if he's going to be that amazing, and that's Treylon Burks. The Colts could be challenging them, but otherwise, you have the Jaguars and Texans battling for the bottom. Next, at number 6, we have the NFC East. So, this division was absolutely garbage a few years ago. The Cowboys are still good. They were good last year. The offensive line isn't as good, but I still think they're going to be a good overall team. The Eagles are going to potentially challenge Dallas for the division. They made a huge upgrade at wide receiver, trading for A.J. Brown. And now they made the playoffs in a rebuilding year. How many teams do that? So they're going to... They got even better this offseason, and they're going to be a thorn in the Cowboys' side this season. And then you got the Commanders. They had a quarterback upgrade going from Taylor Heinicke to Carson Wentz. I'm not saying Carson Wentz is the long-term answer, but he's a short-term solution. I think he's better than Taylor Heinicke. And then there's the Giants. So, I think they could be decent, but have they really shown us any potential? Not really. So, the Commanders, they're kind of middle of the pack, but the firepower in this division is the Cowboys and Eagles. Number 5, we have the NFC North. So, a lot of people could have this at 6 or 7, but I think this is number 5. The Packers are taking a slight step back because they lost Devontae Adams and Za'Darius Smith. By the way, they just extended Jair Alexander. The Vikings, they signed Za'Darius Smith. They have the potential to challenge the Packers for the division if healthy. I think they're going to be a potential wildcard team. But the problem with the Vikings is they have trouble staying healthy. They have a superstar running back, Dalvin Cook. Always going to miss time. And then the Lions... So, they just had the number 2 overall pick. They also got Jameson Williams. I think they're going to be better than they were last year. I'm not saying they're going to be good, but maybe a 6 to 7 win season. They're going to surprise people. And then you have the Bears that are going to surprise people in a bad way. They're going to be really, really bad. At number 4, we have the AFC East. So, starting off at the top, it's the Bills. This is the Bills division. The Patriots didn't really do anything this offseason, but they did make the playoffs last year, so they're going to be good again, or you would think. Then you got the Dolphins, who upgraded the offensive line and got Tyreek Hill. And then you got the Jets, who are one of the most improved teams this season. They made tons of moves, and they're surrounding Zach Wilson with talent, and if they're not good, it's just they're the Jets. So I think this division could be competitive. So no, I'm not saying the Jets are going to be amazing and they're going to make the playoffs. But they're not going to go have a top 5 pick like they did last year with their own pick. Number 3, we have the NFC West. So this was the best division last year, and now the Seahawks have a really bad quarterback situation with Drew Lock and Geno Smith. But the rest of the division is still really good. The Rams are the defending Super Bowl champions, and yes, they lost Odell Beckham Jr. and Von Miller, but then they added Bobby Wagner and Allen Robinson to replace them. The 49ers are good, but they need to figure out what they're going to do with quarterback. If they're going to keep going with Jimmy G, then what's the point of drafting Trey Lance? I know, but I know several others, like look at Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers with the Packers and stuff like that. But I think the team is better with Trey Lance now. I know Jimmy Garoppolo wins games, but I think Trey Lance is better, and I want Trey Lance to succeed as the 49ers quarterback. And then you have the Cardinals, who are going to be without DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 games of the season, but they still should be pretty good. So that division is still going to be really good. Next, we have the AFC North, is the second best division. So you have the Bengals, who just went to the Super Bowl, and they have a really bright future, one of the best receiving corps in football, a bright young quarterback. Really the only bad thing is they just lost tight end CJ Uzama, but the rest of the team has a extremely bright future and is very young. Next we have the Ravens. And people think they're bad because they weren't good last year, but that's just because half their team was on the IR by week 1. And then you have Lamar Jackson, who only played like half the season because of injuries. And then you have the Browns, who traded for Deshaun Watson, and outside of that, their team is good. And even if Deshaun Watson gets suspended, they still have Baker Mayfield, who they can play behind him. But who really knows what's going on there? And then you have the Steelers, who, yes, they're the worst team in the division, but they're always going to be decent because Mike Tomlin is such a great coach. He's actually never finished a season under 500. Next, we have the AFC West as the best division in football. This division is amazing. The Chiefs, they're always a threat in the AFC. They lost some key players, Melvin Ingram, Tyrann Mathieu, Tyreek Hill, but then they got wide receiver Sky Moore, and they drafted defensive end George Karlaftis to replace Melvin Ingram. The Broncos, they were a quarterback away, and now they have Russell Wilson. So now having Russ, they should be a great contender in the AFC and challenge for the division. And then you have the Chargers, who are one of the best rosters in football. On paper, you could make an argument they're the best roster of football. Because they traded for Khalil Mack. That they have 2 great receivers. They just have a great overall team. And then you have the Raiders, who they traded for Devontae Adams, giving Derek Carr a true number 1, who they also have a connection already with Fresno State in college. So I think I could see any of these teams making the division. Making the playoffs. I think they all have a chance to win the division, but I think the Raiders are a little bit behind the others, but they're still a very good team. So those are my NFL divisional rankings. Let me know if you agree, disagree, and why. I think the AFC West is the best division in football, as I'm sure you guys do too. So make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I do my best to post as often as possible, and I will see you in the next video.